Welcome, everyone. We are back to the Dubai Business Classics podcast, where we celebrate and showcase Dubai-based businesses and entrepreneurs like my dear friend Anna. Anna, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Pedro.
Today, we have Anna Gedman with us, and she will be talking to us about the beauty industry. Anna, how long have you been in that industry?
Wow. Okay. So I've been in the beauty industry about 23 years now. I started in the UK. I was managing 4 beauty stores in Heathrow in Terminal 4. And then I joined the buying team very, very quickly afterwards. So I started in the UK and then moved to Kuwait and then to Dubai.
Okay. So your first experience in the Middle East was actually in Kuwait.
Yes, I moved to Kuwait when Al Shaya was launching Boots Pharmacy. So that was 19 years ago now. So I moved to Kuwait and I worked with Boots and Debenhams and Vavavoom, which was a local Kuwaiti chain of stores which expanded across the region.
And how long were you in Kuwait?
Just
before?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
But in that 2.5 years, I traveled at least once or twice a week. So I really got to understand the region. I was looking after 7 markets in this region. So yeah, it gave me a good insight into what it was like here.
And when you moved to Dubai, was it still within the same company?
No, when I moved to Dubai, I specifically moved here to set up Beauty Solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was 16.5 years ago now.
So was that an obvious choice to start your own business in a city like Dubai? Did you feel like that was going to give you the biggest projection to grow the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd always wanted to have my own business when I was young, but never planned to do what I did. So when I moved to Kuwait, I realized that the way we operated in the UK was very different to how things were being operated in the UK. The UK, and I'd had great partners and great distributors. So I thought to myself, maybe I can do that one day. And also, there was a huge gap in brands. So 18, 19 years ago, we didn't have a lot of niche products. We had the big beauty brands like the Chanel's, the Dior's, the Estee Lauders. There was a few niche brands, but there was a lot of brands missing. So I saw a gap in the market. And then to launch a business, the only place I could really do it then was Dubai. So, and Dubai is the hub. So,
When you say the only place I could do it, were there restrictions in other parts of the region where you were limited to do so?
yeah, so in other markets at that time, I wouldn't have been able to have a license under myself. And for me, it was really important that I had control of my own business. So I didn't want to have a local partner. So Dubai gave me the opportunity, or the UAE actually gave me the opportunity to be able to work with a free zone and completely own my own company. So the first license I had was Ras Al Khaimah.
Okay. And you say the first, I was going to ask, do you still have the same trade license, or is this?
No, I changed trade licenses. So I moved to DMCC when JLT developed, and that offered different opportunities. And it was also based closer to Dubai or in Dubai. So that made sense. What I didn't realize at the time when I moved is just that change in free zone meant that I had to start my banking from scratch. So there was lots of things that I've learned along the way that I didn't know and had to figure out for myself. So that did cause some issues with payments and having to lose that banking history and start again. So we still have the DMCC license, but then we launched an onshore license as well. So we have a DED license as well in the US.
This more recently, when the rules have changed and you
No,
can have full ownership, or do you now have a?
it was before. So I
Okay.
actually worked with Creative Zone, who are a great
yes.
company that help businesses open, and I had a local partner through them. And then when the rules changed, then I moved it over to myself as well.
Okay, very good. So tell us a little bit more about your business, your company.
Yes.
What exactly does it do?
So Beauty Solutions is a distribution company. So we help brands that are not here in the region, and we bring the brands to the region. So we work mainly with beauty brands, but we also do a little bit of wellness and supplements as well now. As the market's evolved, we've evolved. So as a distributor, what we do is we look for brands, or sometimes brands approach us, and we launch them into the region. So that means us shipping the products here, making sure the products are compliant, so registering them for each country that we work with, um, creating the strategy, creating the price points for the products, doing all the marketing, and managing the brand from A to Z. So we support those brands that are not here.
And you work on a business to business basis?
We do mainly business to business, but we do a little bit to consumer as well through our own website.
Okay. So is this a newer part of your business that came after?
Yeah, it definitely came after. We've probably had our website for around 10 years now, so it isn't a new part of our business, and it will never be the main part of our business. Our core business really is to supply the beauty retailers in the region.
And do you think that's the growth in the e-commerce and the last mile delivery services that are absolutely everywhere, is this kind of like also pushed you a little bit more into that segment? Or
Yeah, definitely. So we work very well with Amazon. So we have Amazon, and we do two different ways of working with Amazon. So we have Vendor Central, where they purchase in bulk from us, and then we also have Seller Central, which is when we supply the market as per order. We also work with people like Noon, Namshi, Unas. Unas is a fantastic customer of ours. So it's definitely a key part of our business and growing part of our business, but it isn't our biggest part. Our biggest is still retail. And we also work a lot with luxury hotels and spas and pharmacy and travel retail and e-com as well.
so every time I go down the beach road, for instance, I get amazed with the amount of establishments that are there related to aesthetics and wellness and beauty. Is the markets for your business absolutely gigantic here compared to other places, or
Yeah.
or is it like this everywhere?
It's not like this everywhere. In the GCC, people do spend a lot more on beauty. Um, and people also travel here as well for treatments as well. So we do supply some of those establishments on the beach road, and there's more and more coming. So I would say the business is booming. There's a lot of new people coming into the market. It's becoming more competitive for our existing customers. Um, but yeah, a lot of the times when you try and book in one of these establishments, they're still busy and they're full. So if they're performing well and they do great services, then it works. And there's a lot of business there for them.
I know that part of the Dubai tourism strategy is the health tourism. There's been very large investment in that field. And does the beauty industry somehow fall into that category, or is it a position and kind of like managed a little bit differently?
I think it's part of the same thing, especially since COVID, let's say. Um, People are focusing a lot more on wellness and beauty inside and out. I mean, health and wellness really comes from inside. So what you're feeding your body with will help with how your skin looks, how your mental clarity is, for example. So it's kind of morphed into one category. And that's why we have moved over the years into different categories. So definitely wellness. It's always something that I'm very interested in anyway. Um, but it is classified as beauty as well. So a lot of the buyers will buy for beauty, but they'll also be buying for wellness. And that could be the sleep category, because sleep is so important for health, but also beauty. So we have a sleep brand called This Works from the UK. And we have an aromatherapy brand also from the UK called Neon, which is very into wellness and health as well. So within that brand, you will have aromatherapy to help you relax, to help lift your mood, again, sleep. So yeah, it's very important. And I would say we are growing in that category. We've definitely, we have two supplement brands that we brought on board as well. And the buyers that we're talking to and dealing with are also looking to grow that category.
So how many brands, how many products do you have on your portfolio?
We have over 30 brands now.
Over
30.
30.
So yeah, and
And in terms of like products, when you trickle down
yeah,
from
we have
that
about 8,000 SKUs.
8,000, wow, that's
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
lot. And we really specialize in skincare, hair care, and beauty tools. That's our strength. We do also have makeup and fragrance, but our biggest part of the business is skincare, hair care,
And is
and
it a
tools.
very competitive market, this market here in Dubai?
Yes, it is. It's competitive in different ways. So I would say it became more competitive maybe 6, 7 years ago when cross-border trading started to happen with websites. So prior to that, pricing wasn't as such an issue because we had control of the market. But then when you have other retailers like Harrods or Selfridges or Amazon or Current Body shipping into the market,
Mm,
then you have to be competitive with those. So that change happened, as I say, maybe 6 or 7 years ago for us. But in terms of competitive with products, every brand now wants to be in this region. So before they would establish the UK and the US maybe, and maybe some European countries, but now some brands are just looking to secure the UK and the Middle East. They see it as very, very important. So we get approached probably by 20 brands a week to come here.
wow,
So
that's incredible.
yeah, if we're launching a
And
skincare brand,
how do you manage to select them?
it's
Are
very
these
difficult
because there
because
must be new players coming into the
yeah,
markets all the time.
there's new brands, and then there's brands like every celebrity now almost has a brand, male or female.
Mm.
Every celebrity sees it as an income stream. So now they're launching beauty as well. So you have new brands, but you also have brands that have been in other markets and want to come here, or you have brands that have been here before but weren't as successful and they want to change partnership. Um, and I'd say, yeah, it's very competitive. It's difficult to choose a
And
brand.
where are all these products being manufactured? Is it a case that there's all these different brands for all these different celebrities, but they all come from the same factory with the same ingredients? So,
There's a little bit of instances of that. Um, yeah, so there's key markets. So, for example, a lot of tech brands will all come from China.
mm,
It's very rare that they're manufactured anywhere else. We do have an American brand that, well, two American tech brands that are actually manufactured in the US. And when I say tech, it's beauty tech. So it's like facelifting devices or microdermabrasion devices, and they're manufactured in the States. But most brands will be manufactured in China.
and
If you,
how does it work? Is like a gadget? Like
yeah, so they'll use like microcurrent to lift the face, so to
okay.
exercise the muscles and lift the face. Or another product will be exfoliation, so it's using a diamond disc which will rotate and use suction to take the dead skin off the surface of the skin. So beauty tech is a big growing part of our business, and globally it's a big category that's growing.
Do you think, in a way, um, the boom of new technology, social media, uh, video,
Mm,
like the amount of photos that people make, is this must have had a tremendous impact
yeah.
on your industry.
Consumers are a lot more educated now. So they won't just look at an advert and believe what a brand is saying. They will definitely look for reviews and honest, authentic reviews. So,
They're more exposed also.
yeah,
Everyone's all over the internet.
yeah. Everyone wants to see transparency from brands. So they really want to understand what are the ingredients. So they're much more educated. And also, even people are now looking more to micro influencers because they know the power of the big influencers and how much they're being paid. And one time they might see they're promoting one skincare brand one week, and then the next week it's another brand. So it loses authenticity. So they will really go and look for those influencers that they believe the content of.
I've seen online uh, a growing concern on some tendencies of very young children getting
Yes.
into the shops and trying
Mm,
everything, and some clients get upset because they make an absolute mess. Some
it's true.
parents get worried because their kids are too young to
Mm.
start getting into the whole makeup. What are the people in the industry saying about this? What's your thoughts?
So generally, the people in the industry are not happy about it because you have, it's called the Sephora Effect. So you have teens and tweens going mainly into Sephora. Sephora is a great retailer. They do bring amazing brands. But a lot of these brands are brightly packaged. And even if they weren't originally created for a younger consumer, it's attracting the attention of younger girls. It can be from like 8 upwards. I'd say 8 to 15 is the group that are really purchasing and looking to buy these brands. And sometimes parents are, probably with peer pressure, are buying products that should not be used on the children's skin. So some will have retinols in, which is for
We all
anti-aging.
wish we had a children's skin, right?
Yeah. So they're just not suitable. There are a few brands out there that are brightly coloured and they are suitable. But there are a lot of brands. It's mainly through, I think, TikTok and YouTube that children have seen these brands, and Instagram as well. And then they're seeing beauty hauls that influencers are doing, and then they're putting them on their Christmas lists or they're putting them in their birthday lists. And they're
How is Sephora reacting to this effect? Do you think they're
so
happy, unhappy, cautiously trying to understand?
I think originally they were probably happy, but there is a bit of a backlash now. I know some states in the US are putting in laws that certain brands aren't be allowed to be sold to anyone under 18.
Mhm.
I haven't heard personally that Sephora are doing anything in particular, but that might just be information I'm not privy to. So yeah, I think it's not just about educating the children. We need to educate the adults as well, just to make sure they're aware of ingredients and what is suitable and what isn't suitable for children's
Yeah.
skin.
One of my panics as a parent is when Christmas comes and someone thinks it's great to offer a child a little kind of like makeup set that they bought like really cheap in one of those like not specialized stores, and then my daughter's all happy and I'm thinking, please don't put that on your face.
Yeah.
Do I have reasons to be concerned?
I think for most brands, it's fine. But as you say, it depends where it comes from. So if it's coming from like certain countries very cheap, then I'd be a little bit worried about what is actually in there. So our region luckily follows very strict guidelines. We actually follow European law. So something will be banned in Europe, and then within a couple of months, it will follow here.
Yeah,
So
overall, the perception that I have, not only on the beauty industry, but in every industry overall, in the food industry, for instance, is that the UAE run a very strict policy always, and they're very good at controlling and making sure that they're completely aware of what is in the market.
they are. We have to register every product that we bring into the country. So that helps with that control as well. And there's lots of checking. So, and rules change from time to time. So I'd say, yeah, they're very on top of things there. So if you're buying from a retailer here, you should be assured that it's fine.
So going back to beauty solutions, you are based in Dubai, but what is your area of operations? How far does it extend to?
So we supply the GCC. So our biggest business is still UAE. And we're based here. It's easy to get things done here. The team are mainly here. But we supply Qatar as well. It's a big market for us, and Saudi. And then also Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman, which are smaller for us. So yeah, when we sign a brand, we have to have exclusivity, because we can't work if someone else is working with the brand in the region, because we invest in marketing and price points. Everything needs to be maintained.
If I had 20 brands knocking on my door every day, then I'd be asking for exclusivity also.
So we work with exclusivity. And sometimes we work in other countries as well. So in the past, we've supplied hotels in the Maldives, for example, or Seychelles. So there's little pockets of business outside, and then we've just set up in the UK as well.
Because some of the management of these multinational companies are based in Dubai for a certain region, and they might come to you and ask for all their properties, and that would go out of your geographical area. But being an existing client, you probably need to take that step, right?
Yeah. So an example of a group that do have presence here, for example, is Unilever.
Mhm.
So despite them having a presence here, we represent 3 Unilever brands. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of obviously big companies and a lot of smaller companies are moving here to have a presence and a footprint in the region as well. But sometimes they also want it to be managed outside their control.
So at the moment, Dubai, I feel like it's still the beauty capital of the GCC. Would
Mm.
you agree with that statement?
Yes, for most brands, some brands will have bigger sales in Saudi.
Hmm.
What I'd say about our region is, even though we manage the region, each country has its own nuances. Each country is very, very different. Now, the Saudi market is very much led by pharmacy. So, and the big pharmacy chains such as Nadi has like over 1,000 locations. So, if your brand is someone that fits with a retailer like Nadi, then Saudi can definitely be a bigger business. Or even Faces, if a brand's working well with Faces, they have many, many stores there. I think there are about 60 stores there compared to Dubai, where we just have 2.
Saudi is a country that is going through a lot of change.
Mm.
Have you noticed an increase of the volume of business
Hmm.
there? They're trying to diversify their economy. They're looking into other areas. They're doing
Mm.
a big investment in tourism.
Mm.
Do you feel like all these changes are creating bigger and better opportunities
Hmm.
there for you?
So with Saudi, everyone talks about the size of the market. It's a huge market, bigger population, bigger land mass. Um, and a few years ago, people were saying how it was booming and now's the right time. We've worked with Saudi for many, many years. But what we found more recently was because the country's opened up and people are spending on tourism, um, a lot of the money that was being spent in the malls has now been diversified. So people are doing other activities like going to the cinema or concerts or traveling. That wasn't as readily open to them before. So a lot of beauty brands actually saw a dip over the last few years. But there are a lot of changes, as you say, and I think there's a huge amount of opportunity there. It's just about untapping it in the right way. We also have a lot of 5-star hotels coming into the region, especially in Saudi on the Red Sea space. So there's a lot of opportunity there as well. So we are focused on Saudi for sure, but it's for us it takes a lot longer than the UAE and Qatar, for example. So,
I was just going to say, is Dubai and the UAE obviously still the easiest place to do business?
mhm. I would say Dubai and Qatar is actually quite easy for us as well.
Very good.
So Qatar has different rules in terms of registration of products, so that makes it a little bit easier. Um, yeah, and we've got great relationships in Qatar with the teams. So there's a lot of retail opening over there. So we work with the Watsons, and they have 6 locations in Qatar now. They had 1 for quite a few years, and then now suddenly they have 6. Gold Apple's opened over there. We work with Galerie Lafayette over there, and L'Etoile and Monoprix. So they have a nice, retail mix, and we have good partnerships there.
So you mentioned that with the uh, boom in terms of different things to do and to spend money on in Saudi, there's been maybe a bit of a decrease on the money spent on
Mm.
beauty products, and that reminded me of a cliche that I've heard many times, but I actually have no idea if this is the truth or not, and I would love to hear it from you. People say that whenever there is a financial crisis, that the lipstick
Yes,
goes out. Is this really
it's
a thing?
really, really true. So it's called the lipstick effect, and it's happened. And not the recent recessions, but before or even before, like in world wars and things. So people won't always have the money to buy a whole new outfit or a hat or something special, but they will still want to treat themselves and make them feel good. And the very quick way to do that is to apply a red lipstick. It just like brightens the face and gives a little bit of sophistication. So it's an inexpensive way to lift yourself and make yourself feel better.
Especially if other financial aspects are not so good and people
Yeah.
are worried about stuff, then maybe it cheers them up a little bit.
Now, we've seen it many times since it originally started. Like, there's also been the nail effect. So nail polish in the industry has a 9-year cycle where it peaks and then it starts to decline and then it comes back up again. And yeah, there was a nail effect where people would invest like not so much money, but they would do nail art and nail patterns. And that also brightens the spirits and gives people a point of difference from their friends. So yeah, we see it. People will always spend on beauty. It just depends on the disposable income and whether they'll buy a niche fragrance for a few thousand dirhams or if they're going to buy a lipstick for 50 or 60 dirhams maybe.
And when the economy is going well and things are going great,
Yes.
what are people chasing these days when they feel like they have big budgets?
Yeah. Our region, people love newness. So it's very important to keep new products coming and exclusivities coming. So some brands will create exclusives now just for a certain retailer here or for a certain product. It will be exclusive to our region or a certain retailer. So definitely people are always looking for the latest thing. People always want instant gratification in terms of skincare and tools because people can go to clinics. They're used to seeing an instant result. So a lot of brands now will make products where there is a long-term result and effect, but they also want to have something where people can see something quite instant. So it may be a skincare product that has an ingredient that will take, you need to use the product for maybe 6 weeks for it to really start working, but there'll be like a blurring effect in the product. So you can see your skin looks very brushed, airbrushed, almost like you've got a filter. So yeah, I would say newness, instant results, different versions of existing products. So customizing products. There's a lot of beauty brands now will have like a separate case that you can buy to carry your beauty product or a charm you can put on your beauty product. That's a big trend at the moment.
Very good. And on trends, you've mentioned that now all the celebrities are launching their products. I know that the beauty industry is one of those industries that has a huge amount of content creators online, unboxing, reviewing, promoting. Do you work with a lot of these content creators? Do you think that they have a very large impact in this industry right now?
Yeah, I do. I think every brand needs to have a strategy to work with influencers and content creators. Some brands solely rely on that, and some people have a part of the budget allocated to that. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, if you have a brand that goes viral on TikTok right now, it can be a whole business just in one product. We don't obviously have TikTok shop here in the region yet. I have heard it's going to come to Saudi soon. But in the UK, a lot of brands that you might not have seen on the high street or heard of are famous through TikTok. And just again, it's normally the younger generation will walk into a store with a picture of a product that they've seen on TikTok. So we work with influencers. I'd say how we're different to other distributors is that we really like to do activations and events. We like to keep the products live rather than just putting them on a shelf and hoping they'll sell. So we have a list of probably 300 different influencers, and some we know are suited to certain brands. So we'll filter them by brand positioning, who their audience is. Yeah.
And is it easy to have loyalty from these content creators, or one day they do a campaign for you and then the next day they're doing for a competitor because it suits them that day?
mean, their job is to create content, so they need to do this for a lot of brands. Busy. So some of the content creators and influencers sign with brands, and they will have, it's normally, if they're going to be exclusive with a brand, is obviously a cash payment rather than a barter deal. So barter deal is when you give product rather than a payment. So if they've signed with a brand, then they may not be able to talk about my brand, for example. It just depends on their deal. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier about authenticity, it's very difficult if you're working with someone and they're talking about an anti-aging skincare one day, a product, and then the next day they're talking about a different brand that has anti-aging. But generally in the market of beauty, there's less and less loyalty. People don't stay loyal. There's so many launches. Brands in the past may have launched 1 or 2 new products a year. And now a lot of brands will launch up to 8, 10 products. Some brands are very specific and will stick to when a product is needed within their range. They feel they will launch, where other brands are like, if we don't launch, we're going to lose market share. So they will plan in specific launches for the year. So yeah, they're definitely important, but I'd say micro is becoming a little bit more focus of some of the brands rather than the huge influencers with 10 million followers, for
Yes,
example.
yes. And to be honest, in terms of loyalty, if there's one thing that these content creators tend to have is loyalty from their followers.
Yes.
And I think that for a follower, when you trust a content creator, it will be a lot easier to follow his advice if he actually promotes any brands and multi-brands because he portrays the image that he actually likes that product.
Yeah, and they're
that
using
if he
it.
just is a brand ambassador and they know, okay, so here he comes again, talk about that brand. He's only going to say good things. He's not allowed to say bad things. So I think that that liberty to be themselves is most of the times what creates their following base, right?
Yeah.
Because people go to them for real
Yeah,
advice.
definitely. And they will lose followers if they, people can see through if they see it's something that's really paid and there's no love for the brand. Like sometimes it comes across that they're just unboxing, they're not really using it. Maybe they're gifting it to someone else. So I think authenticity is really, really key. And just going back to loyalty, in the past, people would have bought a regime from one brand. So they would have had their cleanser, toner, moisturizer, eye cream from a brand. Now we're seeing brands more. They understand that this isn't normal anymore. People will buy across different brands. So a lot of brands will talk to us about, they don't need to buy the whole regime. Our products fit well with other brands as well, because you will see people swapping and changing between brands.
Very good. That's interesting. So in terms of growth, diversification, what are you aiming for? What's the next big challenge on your pipeline?
So I'd say for us at Beauty Solutions, the whole team are always busy. We can never finish our job list because not only do we have new brands, we have new product launches, and then we have new retailers and new channels coming into the market. So in the last few years, we've seen Gold Apple and L'Etoile. We've seen Watsons expand. We have Ulta, a big US retailer coming to the region. H&M are launching beauty stores. Nicer is expanding. So we have lots of retailers to focus on and to make sure we're supporting them with their launches. We've also got lots more clinics launching and lots more hotels launching. So that keeps us busy. As I say, we're approached by a lot of brands. So we're constantly looking, would this brand fit our portfolio? Sometimes I will love a product, but I know that it's not right now because maybe we don't have that customer in terms of a buyer that wants that category or that brand, or there's no space. So sometimes we have to say no, even if we love the brands. So we're very much focusing on growth. We do want to grow Saudi. And we've just launched in the UK. So we've secured 5 brands for the UK as well. And we're building the team there.
Amazing. So one final question. If someone is looking to come to Dubai and start their business within the fashion, the beauty industry, where do you think is the biggest gap right now? It's now a mature market, so it's hard for people to spot a gap in the market like you did back in 2008. So what is kind of like the niche right now that you think it's still a good opportunity for someone to take a risk at?
Well, I actually think there's room. There's still room for other people to come because, as I mentioned, there's so many brands that want to be here. So there is room for more brands. There is room for more distributors, more retailers are coming.
Position themselves slightly different and try to go for the segments of the market that
aren't
as developed.
Yeah, so there are lots of different segments of the market. Some distributors just focus on professional. Even people could come and just focus on e-com. So if they're a specialist with Amazon in the UK or anywhere in the world, they could come here and really do well just with Amazon because that's growing. So yeah, I'd say there's definitely space. In terms of product category, I'm trying to think if there's anything missing, because if there's something missing, obviously I'm going to try to get that. But
there's come up, right?
There's different price points as well. You could be going very low and you could be looking at, even now in the region we have discount stores. We didn't used to have discount stores, but some brands create brands just to be sold in that discount channel. So there's the discount channel. There's also supermarkets. We do work with supermarkets here as well. So there's different price points. So you could either go low or very, very high, super luxury.
I always say it's the last question, and then I come up with the other ones. How is the men segment compared to other parts of the world? Is it big here?
I would think it would be bigger because men in the region groom a lot. So they will go to salons and they will do facials and waxing and obviously hair and barbering. And we have a lot of men's spas here, but the men's business is still quite small. So we have just launched a new male brand from the UK called Damon Barber. And we have worked with male brands before. But yeah, I'd say it's not as easy as female brands.
In a place like the UK, average figures, how much of the total market you would say it's the generated by the men consumers?
Yeah, I think it's probably about 20% UK. And those sales would come obviously a lot from online, but more like Boots and Superdrugs, which Boots is the biggest beauty retailer in the UK. And Superdrug is very high as well. Whereas here in our region, a lot of beauty purchases do come through beauty stores. And men aren't always as comfortable to enter those beauty stores. So if we're putting a male brand, for example, in a Bloomingdale's in the beauty hall, not often a man will go to the skincare section where those products would be sold. Some stores do have a capsule collection for men on their fashion floors, which can work quite well. And then we have real heritage brands that men tend to gravitate towards in supermarkets. So it could be like Dove or Gillette. So that there's those brands.
Old Spice.
Old Spice that have been around for a long time. And their family have used them before them. They've been using them for many years. So a lot of the business will come through supermarket and it'll be those heritage brands.
That 20% in the UK, how much is it here?
I don't know the exact figures, but I would say you may be looking at 10 to 15% in terms of like the real beauty stores. It's much less. Fragrance is another story because men here spend and invest a lot on fragrances. The average man here will probably have 5 different fragrances that they switch between, whereas in Europe it'd be 1 or 2. So fragrance is a different story, but skincare and grooming is a little bit further behind.
Very good. Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
It's great talking to you. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. And I hope that everyone at home has enjoyed this episode. And we will leave it here. But we will be coming back very shortly with more episodes. Please continue to support us, and we'll come back with more interesting stories about Dubai, its businesses, and its entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.